Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and I'm joined with Miguda. Miguda, habari gani?
Niko salama kakangu, niko vyema
Mm.
nashukuru Mola. Ingawa
Mhm.
kuna baridi na kuna mvua nyingi sana.
Inafaa mvua inanyesha, si ndio?
Mvua iko nyingi na tunaambiwa kwamba mvua ni baraka. Sasa tunatumaini kwamba ni tele.
Mbona mvua inanyesha na inapeleka watu wetu kama Nairobi? Unajua tulipata vifo vingi kwa hiyo mfuriko ambayo ilifanyika.
Nadhani tu unapata mvua ilinyesha, lakini kama hakuna notice kwa
Mm.
mwananchi, juu mvua ni kitu ambayo inatoka tu natural. Then unapata
Mm.
huwezi jua ya kwamba kutakuwa na floods, itanyesha mpaka kuwe na flood. Pengine wewe umejiziba kwa lango
Mm.
fulani ama kwa
Mm.
gari fulani, lakini unashtuka tu gari inabebwa juu hauna uhakika hivyo inaweza beba gari ama inaweza pita
Hapa
na mimi. So
hapa
wakati
itaenda na wewe.
wakati wakati itakubeba kumbe nilikuwa pale pabaya. So ni tu hali ya ajali, naseme tu hivyo.
Mm. Okay, hiyo ni mzuri, lakini hali yako vipi?
Nashukuru Mola, naona kama Mola ameniwezesha, nasukuma gurudumu ingawa ni nzito hapa na pale,
Mm.
lakini tuko katika ulimwengu, itabidi usukume gurudumu. Hali ya kutafuta hapa na pale riziki,
Mm.
mambo ni mengi kakangu, mambo ni mengi,
Okay, sawa sawa.
mambo imekuwa mengi sana.
Kuna kauli ya leo, sijui kama
Mm.
utanitafsiria. Inasema kwamba kuna mti unakomaa kwa ajili ya jeneza lako, acha dharau. Unanipata kweli?
Eh, nimekupata, lakini ni kama ni kitu si rahisi kutafsiri,
Mm.
juu unapata umesema mti unakomaa
Mm.
kwa ajili ya jeneza lako
Mm.
na uwache madharau, kitu kama
Eh, wa,
hiyo.
wache dharau.
Sasa kwanza wacha ni tafsiri vile nimeisikia,
Mm.
kwa direct translation
Mm.
tusema tu miti wakati ijakatwa
Mm.
inakomaa, na unajua sisi kama Wakristo hasa Waafrika
Yes.
tunatumia jeneza wakati wa mazishi ya mwenda zake, na
Yes.
jeneza hutengenezwa kutoka kwa mbao ama mti.
Um,
Sasa pengine kama kuna kuwepo na miti karibu,
mm.
hiyo miti inaweza kusaidia wewe wakati wa mazishi yako, wakati wa mwenda zako.
Mm.
Sasa hapa kwa dharau ndio kuna shida kubwa. Juu sasa
Eh,
sijui unadharau mti ama unadharau binadamu, lakini sasa wacha nitafsiri kwa maoni yangu.
mm.
Kuna mambo umeongelea mambo ya jeneza. Jeneza hutumika
Mm.
wakati ya kifo, na
Mhm.
pia umeongelea mambo ya mti, na vile vile
Mm.
umeongelea mambo ya madharau. Sasa hali yetu ya binadamu, unapata
Mm.
tunapoishi,
Mhm.
kuna wenye wanaoishi ambao wamesahau ya kwamba kuna kifo. Sasa wakati
Mm.
unapoishi na binadamu wenzako, unafaa
Mhm.
uishi nao kwa njia bora, juu
Mm.
ukiwadharau binadamu wenzako,
Mm.
pengine au unawadharau, mimi kwa
Mm.
maoni yangu, huenda
Mm.
wakakusaidia beba jeneza yako, na vile
Ehe.
vile huenda kusaidia kwa mazishi yako. Sasa wanasema hata wakati unasaidia watu, saidia wale watu wa kwenu huko katika
Mm.
kijiji, juu hao ndio
Kijiji.
watapasua kuni na wao watakubeba kwa jeneza. Rafiki zako wadosi watakuja tu watakuja tu siku ya mazishi wakivaa nguo
Mm.
safi na wanaongea vizuri kukuhusu, lakini wale watafanya kazi. Hata unaona wale watu walichimba
Mm.
kaburi la Raila, uliona pale Kanko Jaramogi, walikuwa tu
Eh,
wale locals. Wale
locals.
watu wanakaa pale kila siku, au kuona
Hao ndio
kina Junet
waliitwa.
Mohamed,
Eh.
hukuona kina Joho, hata mbunge
Eh,
Mabondo Ochanda kuwa hapo. Wale watu
hakukuwepo.
wa Chang'aa unaona
Ndio
hapo
ndio
tu
waliletwa pale.
walikuwa usiku na taa na tingatinga, wakasema baba, nimechimba kaburi lako
Mm. Kuna shida na kipasa sauti yako, sijui ni mtandao ama nini kaka?
shida. Hata nimeona
Mm.
kama niko na shida ishi. Okay, nimerejea
Okay.
nilipogundua
Okay. Alright. Tumeitengeneza kaka? Okay, sawa sawa. Wacha tumsubiri kaka yetu kama baada anatengeneza kipasa sauti yake na anatengeneza mtandao wake. Tu ni ile swali tu ama kauli ya leo ambayo tulikuwa tunaangalia kusema kwamba kuna mti inakomaa kwa ajili ya jeneza lako, acha dharau. Umerudi? Yep. Kwa kweli kuna mti ambayo inakomaa, inamaanisha mimi kwa tafsiri yangu ni kwamba kuna mti ambayo inakomaa na labda unaweza kuwa uko katika duniani na kuna vile wewe unaendesha maisha yako ambapo unajali ama saa zingine ukaonyesha mtu dharau ama kuonyesha mtu heshima but wanakuambia acha dharau, kwa sababu hata kama unadharau mtu, kuna mti fulani inakomaa ambapo itatengeneza jeneza lako. Inamaanisha kwamba kifo kipo na ni kitu ambacho kipo tu na huwezi kwepa na dharau yote, so inafaa tuishi na watu vizuri na tuheshimiane na tukae kwa undugu na upendo. Hiyo ndio kauli yangu. Miguda, umerudi? All right. Thank you so much. As we wait for Miguda, because I think he's there's a problem with his internet and maybe his mic. That's why I cannot get him clear. But today there was a PG for broad-based government, that is for UDA and ODM. There are quite a number of news or a number of issues that came out of that. Remember, today it was the final report for 10-point agenda. And if you go back in the history, how did we come up with the 10-point agenda? This came as a result of the protest that were organized by the Gen Z, where quite a number of them lost their lives. And the Right Honorable Prime Minister and President William Ruto made an agreement with the Kenyan people so that the 10-point agenda was going to be the basis of to see country coming together and to make the country work. So the 10-point agenda was supposed to be 10-year contract. Then the report was supposed to be released to Kenyans on 7th, but the report was released today. And in the releasing of the report, President William Ruto extended the time limit for the committee for another 60 days. That is 2 months. But there are things, or there are those items that has come out that the 10-point agenda has achieved on the committee side, but I don't know whether on the public or the citizen they feel that it has been achieved. Maybe Miguda, on your own assessment, if you look at 10-point agenda and based on even the report that the people were waiting for to see what is in that report, if you do your own assessment and your honest opinion, you look through the 10-point agenda and 1 year after or 1 year later, do you see any improvement, especially in terms of the highlighted issues on the 10-point agenda?
Bro, there is a problem because
Mm.
the 10-point agenda report, it came as a result of a political discussion. Because you
Yes.
understand that the people went to the street, demonstrated, life were lost, people were
Mm.
injured, property were destroyed. Then the people sat down, cabinet was reshuffled. Then they
Mm.
came with the 10-point agenda that when this 10-point agenda are addressed, is going to reflect all the grievances why people went to the street to demonstrate.
Mm.
When you look at it deeply, there
Yeah.
were issues that were pending that were supposed to be addressed by the state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we say that it was their responsibility to ensure that lives and property are safe. So once we have lost lives and properties, they have to come in because they are the duty bearers to keep us safe and the properties. So they have
Mm-hmm.
come.
Hello, Miguda. All right. I'm still waiting for Miguda, and I just
So,
want to know.
so
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Miguda.
okay, sorry. So they have
Mm-hmm.
come in to ensure that those issues are addressed.
Yeah.
Now, when the committee was established and given the mandates to carry out the pending issues so that they can be addressed,
Mm-hmm.
they were supposed to bring the report today. And as they bring report, there will be some action taken by the government. For instance, the issue of compensation. We ought to
Yeah.
have seen things moving. We ought to have seen issues being addressed, police brutality, and also issues like abduction. So when you focus on one agenda, you're going to miss the point because there were 10, there were 9 to be addressed. The issue
Mm-hmm.
of devolution, whereby money was supposed to be devolved to the county, more money. There are so many issues of inclusivity because when people were, cabinet was shuffled, and some people were brought in, that did not mark the end of inclusivity because up to now, I believe there are some communities who are not represented at the executive. So we should have a continuous issue going on. In my view, the issue of economy also was supposed to be addressed. And if right now where I am, I'm not stable financially, it means there's a problem. If
Mm-hmm.
wherever Kenyans are and there's
Yeah.
enough person Fukoni, there's a
Mm-hmm.
problem. So I can
Mm-hmm.
say, even though it's a work in progress, there are things they
Yes.
are doing as a government, and also because we have been seeing them, committee has been established, issues have been addressed. Right now in Parliament, there's a bill of compensation. The court has also halted, so on and so forth. So if you see those things work in progress, I can say
Mm-hmm.
in a span of 1 year, they haven't achieved 900%
Yeah.
of what they had to have done. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they've achieved 2% or 3%, so 96% and 7% are still pending. How do we address it? Because this 10-point agenda was supposed to affect the nation,
Yeah.
not political party like ODM, UDA, or
Mm-hmm.
individuals like Oburu and William Ruto. It was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be effective to the entire nation, whereby the entire nation could be feeling the effect of the project. So when it only making sense for few politicians or it making sense for some leaders or political parties,
Yes.
because it was like ODM UD agenda. And you asked me before we come to this show, behind the curtain, that where are other political parties? Why is
Mm-hmm.
it that only UD and ODM?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if it is only impactful to this UD and ODM, to me, it does not realize the nation's objective. So
Mm-hmm.
according to me, it is not effective to the entire country.
Okay, thank you so much. And that is something that everybody is talking about because everybody was expecting, but there are also those who did not expect much, especially from the committee. But something that also we have to agree here, that whenever you are given an opportunity to serve your country, you should serve it with diligence and make sure that the report that you write makes us history, make a history in your land. Not that when history will be narrated to people, you find yourself being on the negative, or in the I mean the negative part of the history. When you look at the report, there's something that I picked from that report, and this was spoken by Professor Anyang Nyong'o, because the good governor from Kisumu uh, attended the, the, the PG. And he said that from his reading, in the 2025, 2024-2025 financial year, a total of, they say that 415 billion has been given to the county. County funding for county funding hit Kenya shillings 415 billion, especially in our counties. And I know the majority of Kenyans are coming from these counties. The effect of this for 14 billion in the counties, and sometimes when you go to these county hospitals, majority of them, you will find that people are sharing bed. You will find that there is no medication. You will find that there's no water. Like the other day, you remember Migori did not have, there were dry taps in Migori hospital, and such like money in that financial year has been given to the counties. How then do we still find all these shortages and challenges in these counties when such a huge amount of money has been given to the counties or has been allocated, and maybe people do not feel those effects? Hello, Miguda. Okay, we are waiting for Miguda because that is one of the things that was in the report of 450. Maybe let me just give you a summary of everything about the recommendation of the 10-point agenda. Yes, Migud, are you there? All right, I'm still waiting for Miguda and Makobura. So this is, let me just look for the overall. This is what the report says. The overall conclusion summary of key public interest issued and recommendation on the 10-point agenda. So the formation of broad-based mediation committee between the Senate and National Assembly to fast-track the consideration and passage of outstanding bills. So this is now the recommendation for the 10-point agenda. So they've recommended that a committee must be formed, and Kenyans, we are a country of committees. Everything that happens, that we have to form these committees, and when you form these committees, when they'll be sitting, they will not just be sitting. There's allowance that they are going to get from all this sitting, and they are going to fast track the outstanding bills, especially concerning the 10-point agenda. That is one of the recommendations. Another one is Parliament to expedite and conclude outstanding NADCO bills within 90 days. So the NADCO bills that are related to NADCO should be concluded within 90 days. That is 3 months. So within 3 months, the NADCO bills, and remember what the NADCO bills was containing, or the NADCO proposal was containing. That is including the cost of living. It was also about the creation of offices. I don't know how that one is going to happen, because we know, especially in the Constitution, there are certain provisions or certain article that if you need to change, you have to go for referendum. I don't know when they can organize for that referendum so that we can see. Miguda, are you back?
I'm back, and let me just come in.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the issue of 450 billion, the devolved funds that was supposed to be devolved to the county. We have also talked about the issue of counties, whereby you've cited Migori,
you find that in times of crisis or crisis, there are some county with emergencies. For instance, like what happened in Migori, whereby there is emergency to construct a bridge because it serves the people. It
Yeah.
does not only serve the Migori resident, but it serves the East Africa because that is the Trans-African Highway where it connects Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah.
Kenyans are using it, Tanzanians are using it. So it's a matter of national interest, a matter
Mm.
of international interest. And
Yeah.
if we argue that it belongs to the national government, but this allocation that goes to the county, what is the function? And
Mhm.
people have been even arguing that, okay, we have stadiums, we have roads, we have other facilities being constructed by William Ruto, including markets. But this fund, which has been devoted to the county, what is its function? What does the governor do with this money? If
Yes.
like the case of Mabay County, Ruto did almost everything: expansion of airport,
Mm.
dual carriage, the pier, the stadium. Now, county government of Mabay, what is your role now? What have you done in the span of 5 years with the funds? Because these funds go to the entire counties. It's been
Yeah.
distributed to the entire counties, allocated to aid Africa. What are you doing with your funds, which has been allocated to the country? That's why we're asking the governors who are in the place, show us what you have done with the funds that has been allocated to your county. Don't show us what the national government has done. So,
Yes.
like you can have counties, for instance, Nairobi and Migori in this case, maybe Wajir and Garissa or Lamu are not
Yes.
affected with any emergency right now. And we have
Mhm.
allocated, for instance, 9 billion to these two counties. So it means even if you're allocating for 15 billion, what about the expense of emergencies can arise? Because you can argue that, okay, I had a crisis in Nairobi, I had a crisis in Migori, but I've never had any crisis in Lamu. So are we giving it equally to counties, or
Mhm.
are we giving it on which basis? Because maybe I'm having lesser people in my county, which I need only 3 billion, but I'm
Yes.
given 9 billion for what? So you understand? So I think Anyang Nyongo, even though it's making submissions, but also
Yeah.
you should reconsider that if it's a matter of equality distribution or
Mhm.
equality share, the fact that Kisumu is getting 9 billion doesn't make Lamu to get 9 billion. That is not equality, or that's not equity, because you can get 3 billion, which is can satisfy that population and that geographical region,
Yeah.
and Kisumu people are more than Lamu. So whenever we are getting this 415 or 450 billion to the counties, we need to understand also at what ratio are we distributing this money. That is one. Then you have also talked about the issue of medical report. I also had President saying that they were supposed to be amending the constitution.
Mm.
And when you say the legislature should move very swiftly and expeditiously to ensure that they have done their passage, to me, I can say there are some structures, just like we have said, you must go to the people. No, they are not limited to parliament. That you
Yes.
must go to the people for them to be amended. Now, you have not reached the people. Now, you have not reached the people. So, if you have not reached the people, if you have not reached the people and you want to amend them, so to me, I can say there are some things they were not going to do, like the issue
Mm.
of prime minister.
Yeah.
They are not going to release those positions because they need to go to the people.
Mhm.
So, up to now, I can see there's a lapsity whereby there are some things that are not going to be implemented fully. The NACO report is not going to be implemented fully because there are some provisions the constitution, just like I've said, you need to go to the people for you to
Mhm.
amend them. For you to attach, for instance, executive is very fundamental that you cannot attach it. You cannot
Yeah.
decide as a parliament that you want prime minister. You must go to the people. The finance, public finance, you must go to the people. And that's why we are
Mhm.
talking about for 15 billion, for 50 billion. You must go to the people. There are many structures that you must just go to the people. So I can say they will ask Parliament to act within 90 days. But remember Narco came before
Mm.
10-point agenda. So I think some are
Mm.
just politically motivated talks.
Okay, if you realize also something with the report, there's so much proposed, rather than giving the solution to some of the 10-point agenda. Because like even if you look at the full implementation of the 10-point agenda, if you go to the report, it talks about the reforms the following: reconstitution of IBC, delineation of electoral boundaries, and audit of the 2022 presidential election. You know, nothing, there's no report on what it says about the 2022 general election, because that is now you're looking at NADGO report. There's nothing telling us about the boundary review, which was supposed to be there. You know, there's also cost of living. They talked of cost of living and Article 43 issues implementation of two-third gender rule. When you look at even the two-third gender rule, you have the majority in parliament. I don't think like this is something that could have really taken them to wait for the report to come. And remember, talking about two-third gender rule, this is not something that started with the NADCO report. This is something that it has always been. Remember, even days when the judiciary made pronouncement that the parliament, Uhuru Kenyatta, should suspend the parliament because they violated the law of two-gender rule. Remember, it comes all the way back. But now in the report also, it is in the report. Again, there is also the fidelity to the political parties and multi-party democracy. Look at that. And if you talk about the fidelity of political parties and a multi-party democracy, what is happening right now in the political parties, even what is happening between ODM and UDA? Is there any fidelity of those political parties? If to say, because that is what they were talking about. Because, for instance, let's just talk about what is taking place right now, because we know for a fact that there was Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. But if you look at what is happening, it is about the UDA and the ODM. What about the other partners that were with the UDA? Where are they left in the negotiation, especially with ODM and UDA? And when did they have, or when did they exit these coalitions that they have? When, and did they follow the due process? So that is something that also we just asking those questions. Good. There's also so when you after 10-point agenda, the report also proposed the following. So these are the proposals that has been made by the report. The Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2023, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission Amendment Bill 2023, the Election Amendment Bill 2023. So those are the Election Offenses Bill 2023, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. There's a Statutory Instrument Amendment Bill, Political Parties Amendment Bill, National Government Coordination Amendment Bill, the Leader of Opposition Amendment Bill. That is talking about the NADCO report, Mr. Miguda. So these are the proposals that should be done. So I think like when you look at this proposal bills, these are what the president has given the 90 days, especially in the National Assembly, so that they can make sure that the outstanding bills are looked into.
So
Let me just tell you something. And they say that, so out of that, those the proposal that they made. So progress of implementation. So they say 3 bills have been enacted into law, including Independent and Electoral Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill 2023, the Statutory Instrument Amendment Bill 2023, and that one and what? So like they're talking about 3 that has been amended, those bills. And that is what was bringing us to about the 3 that I mentioned to you earlier. That was the 3 reforms law passed in the parliament. That is IBC Amendment Bill, EACC Amendment Bill. Those are the 3. Yeah, so the 3, those are the ones. So maybe if you can weigh your thoughts on them.
if you talk about the ESCC Amendment Bill, the IBC Amendment Bill, but before I discuss those bills, first let me go back to the two-third gender rule you have talked about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you want to achieve two-third gender rule, and if that I think that bill is in parliament, it has been there for a quite long time,
Yeah.
and they haven't passed it. And in fact, Mr. President is currently William Ruto. And if he has the goodwill, the parliament can pass it because they have the super
Yes.
majority. Then president will give a presidential assent, then it comes a law. But I think it is not being realized because there's no goodwill.
Yes.
Just like we have said, a lot of proposals, what people want to be, or what people want Kenyans to be, or how leaders view Kenyans, different leaders, is different with the real action, the reality of the structure government. Just like the issue of IBC. IBC, we know that where the problem is, but they haven't settled that problem. They've just introduced some clauses. But remember, there is a clause that says that containers shall be polling stations. And people are
Yes.
saying, what about if they decide to move with a ballot box with Land Cruiser? And they doctors the result. How will you know
Yes.
that this? And how will someone guard a Land Cruiser? So they say even Land Cruisers can be polling stations. So I think that even though there are some, and even the EACC, Ethics and Corruption Commission, even the amendments, the clauses which they have introduced. So to me, it is not what it's of the proposal, but it is how they want things to be done in their way. So they have no problem with the proposal. You can propose, you can bring to parliament bill. Even the bill making process,
Yes.
the committee stage, they can decide to shift off with for, or they remove shall and put may. You understand? So whenever there is shall, they put may. So by putting just may, they have changed everything. By inserting shall, they have changed everything. By inserting off instead of for, they have changed everything. So just one word they can insert and delete. So by the time they're deleting and inserting, they know that it is your proposal, the people. It is popular, pro people, but it is not their proposal. It's not what they want. Just like I've told you, all these laws or all these bills originate from the elites because the people are there to be part of the process, like public participation,
Yeah.
like popular initiatives. But the real sense, the elites decide. Like right now, if I'm a member of parliament and I'm residing at Karen,
Yeah.
maybe my neighbor has an issue with the ESCC, or my friends, my colleagues have issues with the petroleum. So they discuss with me because I'm sitting in the petroleum committee that, Miguda, once you are there, try to insert this fuel levy. So I'll discuss and present it to the popular politician of the time, right? By that time, I could ask Raila, push this for fuel levy. But the author or the original information is derived from the elite. So in the majorities, because I don't believe that there's always bills that do
Yeah.
originate from the people, that
Yes.
the subjects just decide that today we want this issue of ESCC, then they give them member of parliament. These things are being discussed at elite level. So whenever these elites realize that there is a popular view or a
Yeah.
popular bill being pushed by a politician. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, the issue of IBC, whereby the popular view should be, let's do away with the National Tallying Center and deal with the polling station. That polling station is final, it's declared, and that is it. There's no transmission. They will not do that one.
So Miguda, so this is what now I would say. Looking at all the when you look at the report, and if you look at the report, so maybe into summary, this is what I would say. That, for instance, according to what now the report says, that they're talking of IEBC reconstituted, the new commission has sworn in. You remember, now we have we used to have 7, now we have 9, right?
Yeah,
um
sure.
yeah, these a reform. This one I read for you, the three laws that were passed. I read for you earlier. There's also something that president talked about. They talked about is about share coverage jumped from 7 million and to 30 million. Registration is passed. you know there's a difference. You can register. I don't know, this is like the people on the ground can let us know. Registration is not a problem. The problem is provision of the services. You can register up to even around uh, what million. The other day, you saw the Coupet chair. They were requesting for the share to be overhauled. And this was because the teachers were not able to access the services because the SHA was not paying for their services, you know. So registration is not a problem, but what about service delivery? Mm. What is service delivery? That is what we are asking, the service delivery. Okay, I think Miguda has left. And so that is, and as we talked about, let me just read for you something, something concerning the share here that somebody just given to us. Like the large-scale digital transformation in health financing inevitably produces temporary technical adjustment during early implementation, which were quickly identified, addressed, and stabilized. Hakuna scandal. That is somebody saying that. So when you look at the SHA, and this was the daily, one of the daily papers was saying this Kenya shillings 50 billion SHA ripoff. So people are registering, yes, but are they getting the services that they need, Miguda, at appropriate time or when it's due?
Okay, I say people do register,
Yeah.
people are paying,
Mhm.
and but the government does not pay for people who don't pay. That one must be underlined.
Mhm.
And everybody's paying. There's no, I've never seen whereby government is paying for those who cannot pay. Those who cannot pay are paying by themselves. But at times comes whereby you are in the hospital, you
Mhm.
need medical attention, but now you cannot access it because you are depend is SHA. You
Mhm.
depend on the SHA. So you are in the hospital because of the SHA. Now
Yes.
when you look at the system, maybe there's some delays. So you cannot be treated because that delays. I think
Mhm.
that is also, I don't know whether it's a system or what happened, but sometimes it is deliberate, what I know. But
Mhm.
how can we resolve it whereby whether there's a delayance or
Mhm.
not? Of course, I've been paying, and it is clear that I've been paying. And when I need medical attention, they should consider me first so that they can look at their system later. I think that's what we should resolve as a country. That, and that's
Mhm.
why I was insisting on the universal health coverage, whereby it doesn't matter who you are, where you're coming from, how old are you, provided you are just a Kenyan. When you work in a hospital, they just take care of you because it is universally. It doesn't. The system doesn't determine who has paid, who has not paid. It is a
Mhm.
coverage that
Yeah.
whether there is a delay from the hospital, but you know that for a fact, this
Yeah.
person has been covered universally. I have to treat this person. I have to attend to the patient. So I think that's why we are still making noise. Not that we are making noise because SHA is not working.
Yeah.
There's something that can work better than SHA, and that's
Mm.
where we should be heading to as a country.
All right. Thank you so much. Forget about now the 10-point agenda and the recommendation that has been made by committee. There was also political undertones that were or political statements that were made with the leaders. Let's start with Oburu. Dr. Buru said something about the broad-based government, and he said that I want to inform Kenyans that the broad-based started long before the 10-point agenda. Um, do you think this is true, or it was a political statement?
It could be true
Mm,
to some extent because Oburu
mm,
was part of the inner circle, Raila. And Oburu used to provide technical assistance. He used to sit in the back office. And this is why I said it is true because even Oburu said that when Raila proposed Omologa to be the PS for the health,
yeah.
they questioned,
Mm,
the back office team questioned that who is this Omologa? Then
mm,
Raila convinced them to accept and allow him to be appointed. So I think in in the in the absence of the public, there have been some discussions going on before the Gen Z revolt.
mm,
And the reason being, remember when Raila wanted to be the AU chairperson
yes.
and he threw his weight into the ring. But
Mhm,
that time, William Ruto admit and also make a decision supporting fully
Mhm.
the funds, all the trips,
Mhm.
all the finance. So you understand. So I think by that time they were in arrangement.
Mhm.
They were doing some things behind the curtains. They were working together. Maybe it could have not been realized because they wanted a loophole. And that's the time when Gashaka talked about shares and Ruto went to Kisumu and said, anybody who is talking about shares, that is primitive and backwardness. So I think there were some, of course, there were some signs. I remember even when Ruto went to Suba when he was at Karoli Omondi constituency. He was
Yes.
saying that Ring Road, Rusinga Ring Road, and he went to Bondo. There were signs that actually Raila and Ruto were not in that bad moment at that time. They were in good moments of their
Yeah.
time in politics. So by that time, I think they were doing something out of it. So when the Gen Z revolt,
Mhm.
it now ignite the
Mhm.
formation. And when the cabinet was reshuffled, that's
Mhm.
now they got the opportunity. Now, at this reshuffle of the cabinet, let's use this excuse that we have incorporated our people, but in the real sense, there is this issue of broad-based government. So I
Mhm.
think that it's something that has been there. It was just motivated by this Gen Z revolt. Then later, they impeached Gachagua and reinstated Kindiki. So it has been a norm. There haven't been any challenges into their formation. And that's why even when Raila died, there have
Mhm.
been continuous relationship between Ruto and ODM. ODM for Oburu. There has been these talks, these arrangements have been constant from the time Raila wanted to be AUC up to now. So I want to believe that when Oburu said that this thing happened long time ago,
Mhm.
I think it is true. It
You
could be
think
that it happened before the Gen Z revolt.
that could be true because I want to bring you back, especially after uh, the pronouncement of the case between electoral challenging of the presidential results, especially between Raila Amolo Odinga and President William Ruto. And people went to the street about the Sufuria movement. There was that NADCO team that were given the opportunity to collect views from Kenyans. You know, people were given an opportunity for Kenyans were given an opportunity to share their views with the committee. But if you're very keen enough, none of the issues that were shared with the Kenyans, especially, were captured in the NADCO report, especially if you remember. And I think from the NADCO report, that's where the working relation, especially between the ODM, the, the Raila Amolo Odinga, the late Raila Amolo Odinga, and President William Ruto started. Because from there was this belief that the government was not doing good. And President William Ruto had to find a way in which to bring in or to have a conversation with Raila. Because remember, when people go to protest, especially if you're talking of Nairobi, how much revenue do people lose during that time? The national government usually loses a lot of revenue, that including some other towns where the protests are taking place. So I think that was the genesis of working together. But now with the Gen Z revolt coming, that was just a way to provide that opportunity that was under the carpet and say that, hey, now let's come work together. Because remember, before the 10-point agenda, Raila Odinga talked about conclave, that people should have a conclave which will include every generation to people to bring in their views, and which was not accepted by many, especially. And people say that there are so many of this that had taken place, but nothing has been achieved or actualized. So that's why the 10-point agenda now came. And this 10-point agenda came after the public did not accept the ideology of conclave. So Oburu, I think is right that this started a long time ago, and is not something that is going to end soon. So especially for those who have alternative view, actually, um, they're not going to succeed, especially talking about those who, especially the ODM wing of Orengo, Edwin Sifuna, and Caleb Amisi and Babu Owino. From the look of things, the train has left the station. Whether it is going to be implemented through due process or no due process, they are going to move on with what they've decided.
Yeah, just to add on what you have said, remember during the narco report,
Yeah,
Kalonzo and Ishungwa chaired the committees. But
true.
remember, by that time it was Azimio. So I think that there was a deliberate arrangement that Azimio was supposed to work with the UDA, in exception of Ford Kenya, ANC, and also impeaching of Gachagua. So it was just a trap to me because already Kalonzo was also part of the game until when the names were called out, you find out that only ODM members were appointed. Joho, Paranya, Badi, Wandai. So when they realized that, oh, it's now an ODM affair and UDA, Kalonzo started to become very active in opposition. But initially, it was pro-narco report. Initially, it was quiet. So until now, he realized that the people of ODM have been appointed. Now he become very active in opposition to date. So I think Kalonzo was shortchanged later, but the intent was to move as a team. You never know. Maybe Kalonzo could be appointed as the deputy president by that time, or Kalonzo was approached maybe to take one of the CS position or speaker position. There were some rumors. I think that time you had some rumors that Kalonzo should be given speaker of the house.
Yes.
Kalonzo should be appointed. So I think maybe he was approached, but he declined. Reasons best known to him. So I think this thing was crafted long time ago.
Yeah.
So Buru could be right.
Okay, let me just read for you. Ruto and Odinga mark first year of 10-point agenda partnership. As a joint parliamentary group meeting in Nairobi, Ruto and Oburu co-chaired the first anniversary of their 10-point agenda, celebrating progress in lowering inflation. Yes, unasikia that? Lowering inflation. That is something that I put in place. Boosting agriculture and record shift payment of 16.2 billion to hospital this week. This extended their oversight committee by 60 days. Yeah. Formed a mediation team for NADCO legislation and reaffirm unity until 2027. Oburu questioned Nairobi's flood responses as predictable rather than an emergency, while the gathering highlighted UDA ODM cooperation amid by election wins and domestic issues. So that is something that was President Ruto. Okay. Despite that, President Ruto forget the propaganda that we lost. This is what President William Ruto was saying, because this was in the dailies. I think I mentioned this. Forget the propaganda that we lost 50 million this week alone. We are paying Kenya shillings 16.2 billion for SHIF. We are paying the highest amount of money to any hospital that has ever been paid under the you know I the fact is this, Meguda. How can Auditor General, this is a state government officer, come out with a figure that is a propaganda to the state, what the president is saying, because this is coming from the Auditor General's office. Miguda, what can you say about that? So who is who? Who is who? Is it the president or the Auditor General? Who is telling us the truth here?
That's very tricky and very bad, because you understand, the Auditor General and Controller of Budget, they are commissions. In fact, they fall in commissions and independent officers. Auditor General and Controller of Budget, they are independent officers, and they have no absolute mandate to receive orders from anybody. They work independently. They are part of checks and balances, whereby they have to check and balance the government in existence, most of the executive, or to do with the finance, public finance. But now you are getting a wrong information from public trustee that such amount has been spent for this period for hospital, and the president is confirming. So understand, we are a mess, because the person who should, the president has got no issue. He can just say propaganda because he's a politician. You understand? He's a politician, and also he's a public figure. But the independent office now should be the one checking, watchdog, on our behalf, because all of us can't be in the Auditor General office. So we have
Yeah,
our representative there to watch
yeah.
on our behalf. So Mr. President can just lie to the public that because as a politicians, they do lie. They can say, okay, it is this figure. But it's now up to the Auditor General to come and confirm to us, no, it's not that the figure, this is the figure. But if they are now
So,
concurring
but
on the
but
fake
now,
figure,
you know, Miguda, just to be, we because you talk about this. This is a constitutional office, and one of the mandate of those constitutional office is to work on the behalf of the people, and even to check the resources, how the money, especially the expenditure that they're spending on the people, because that is their watchdog, I would say so. But now, if this is coming from an independent and a constitutional office that has been given power to oversight or to see how the expenditure is taking place, and now this is the president coming, forget about the propaganda. It means because the originator of uh, the information is coming from the auditor, so which means that office is a proper a propagandist office now. What do you say if on a face value?
uh, that's what I was trying to say. The office ought to give us real figures.
Yeah,
That's why I have no issue with the president. I have issue with the office. So if the
yeah.
office is the one providing the false information to president,
Mm.
and the president is now, your president depend on the intels. He works around intels. Anything he's saying is from the point of information. He just doesn't speak anyhow. Whatever he is, he's being brief on what to say. The state of the. So if they decided to brief him that way, that's why I'm saying there's a problem, because they need to give us the real figures. That's office is started by the public. That's why I'm saying there's no issue. The person will say, but where it comes from, the office of the Auditor General, that is misinformation to the public.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. There's this thing. What would we say about losing money to corruption and paying money actually? And are they mutually exclusive?
Losing money to corruption and paying money where? Or paying money to what?
Because the president has paid money to the hospital, and there's also losing money that is being said by the Auditor General. Are they
Eh,
mutually exclusive?
hmm. I don't know whether they're exclusive or they're just part one system, because you have paid money to the hospital, then there's this corruption. You pay them the corruption. So where does this money get? Where does this money land to? Because you are paid from the government, then it's not there. It does not facilitate the health facilities of the people. So to me, it's just corruption. Maybe you never know. You never know the channel. Maybe it's a two-way corruption.
So because like if we don't lose money to corruption, it means the payment has not been made.
The payment must be made for us to lose it in corruption. Without
Yes.
payment, there's no corruption. That's what I'm
So
saying. It's a two-way thing, because
they are the same.
we are only in corruption provided there's payment. No payment, no corruption. Payment,
So
corruption.
which
So it's
means
the same.
these two things are they're not exclusive, they're inclusive.
Yeah, they're not
Because
exclusive. Yeah,
the
yeah.
bottom
They're not
line
exclusive.
is there's money going out, whether you like it or not. There's one that is going through corruption, and there's one that is being used, that is being paid in a normal
So
way.
it must be paid for
It
it
must be paid.
for it to be stole.
Yeah.
It
So which
cannot.
means
You cannot steal minus paying.
yeah. So which means there are those maybe there's those that are being paid, but they are being paid for the services that is not rendered. It's still
Yeah,
paying.
there are those people who are being paid for what they have not worked for, or services they have not provided, but they are getting money.
Mm.
So it is the president who facilitates that one. You understand? You know, you facilitate the payment to your friends,
Mm.
then your friends have not provided service to the people, then they get income.
Yeah, and another
Is the business of the day.
and another thing, when you talk about accounting usually in a good accounting environment, what gives you the data is the kind of payments that are made together with the paper trail for that payment. Yeah.
Yeah, in a good accounting, they have said paper trail, the payment, and also that's why we are further having the Auditor General will come later to audit the process and to analyze how payment was made, how it was received, how services was provided to the people. Does it tally with the process? Then we get who is corrupt, who is not corrupt. That's why we end up with the auditor auditing the
And,
process, the entire
and,
process.
and just remember, Adan Duale too came up with some posts confirming over half of the facilities that defrauded the Shah are Muslim owned. It is there in the internet. So, and when they defrauded, that is where that money can be lost, because when you defraud, which means that you are getting money from where for the services you did not render. So maybe Auditor General might be right. And the same time, President also might be right that they've paid those monies.
I'm saying,
yeah,
they have paid those monies. In the audit report, they have paid it.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you find that there's also corruption.
Okay.
So they can be right that they have done it, but what about this corruption? Why can't they audit this corruption and tell us who are these people who are getting money, services which they have not provided to the public? So that is where we should get it. So the president is just like, I have no issue as we have paid as a government. Auditors are confirmed it has been paid, but it does not reflect the services we are receiving. Does not reflect the amount government has paid for us in the hospitals.
Okay, thank you so much. So we've spoken about the funding of the county, whereby 415 billion has been allocated for that budget, and even Professor Nyang Nyongo actually said that it was a good move, and he said that there's a projection that in the next coming years it will even be more, hitting to around 600 and something. So there's also something that talk about that 820 youth funded under Nyota. So this may be talking about the creation of employment. Hello, Miguda.
I beg your pardon. I've not heard you.
There's also 820,000 youth funded under Nyota, that program that president was doing.
That Nyota. Hey, I wish people could be on the ground. Politics is not what you are seeing on the television or what you are reading. Politics is a different thing altogether. Because 820,000 youth, this Nyota pass, it is something that I can say there was discrimination.
Yes.
There was selection of people few known to them, to the big boys. So even if, when something comes like Nyota, it needs to assist someone who is known, who is not known, who is in remote, someone who is not established. But when Nyota comes, it targets the established people, the people who are already known, the people who have been vocal, the people who have been on the government. So you understand that how the intention to reach the people who are common, it is not realized. And that time it was big Nyota, and the people were taken through training. And even if you could dial *54# whatever, you could not even be given a chance. You'll be kicked out technicality. So I think these people, and even if they were given that money, I think it was, they say 21 or 23.
It is 23.
23. I don't know these people. Maybe, though people got it. The people got it. I don't know how they're going to do.
People got it. That is for a fact. No, there are people.
But it was just a sampling. There are some people, 820,000. That is not even a quarter of youth in this country. If you can empower 820,000, what about the bigger population? What are you for them?
Okay, that is.
So that's why I was saying. That's why I was telling you. Politics is not what you are seeing on television or what you know, what you think you know, or what you are reading. It's something that perception. You must place perception each and every time. Yeah, you must make perception for you to, provided you are moving on. Provided there's tomorrow we wake up in the morning. Just create perception as you move on. There is no accountability.
You see what's happening. Actually, I don't know how we forget quite much quickly. Remember, the empowerment, the money bag and the chopper, how the politicians each and every weekend we are going to empower these women. Women and youth groups, border border, whereby there are quite a lot of money that was being um, given to these youth groups. I don't know how they are doing or they are faring on, especially as per what they are given, or that is the end of that season. It was a season for that.
It could be a season. It could be a
So
it
it
could be a
seems that
season.
we have two seasons that is happening now. Let's at least forget about before we wind up. Let's forget about the 10-point agenda and the anniversary that is happening. I know we will continue to discuss and also share with uh, other platforms who also are in the process or are in the process of discussing this. This issue that happened about the Junet Mohammed being replaced by Omondi Karoli. But if you look at it critically, ODM are the majority in both the houses. How are they going to play in terms of um, the parties and the Azimio and the Kenya Kwanza and the ODM in parliament?
You know, ODM is majority. It's true they are
Mm,
majority
mm,
in parliament, but there's a problem. The
mm,
issue of coalition made them to
mm,
be bigger. And
mm,
when those positions are being given, they are being given based on the, I think they wipe out some. But if ODM is the majority, and
mm,
right now they are close with the UDF law. Karoli Modi is in ODM. Is now the minority. Minority. So I think they are just still working with the coalitions. That the coalition with
mhm,
the minority are the concept. But remember,
mm.
the court pronounced very well that Azimio is the majority. Are you getting the
Yes.
point?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion here because the court pronounced that Azimio is the majority. And when you put Kenya Kwanza as majority, therefore, people like Junet should be
Mhm.
minority. But now, if people like Junet are now in the majority side, and
Yeah.
right now they're advancing the interests of the government, and some people in that ODM have been left criticizing the same government as the watchdog.
Mm,
So I think we can say maybe in terms of coalition, they are individuals. That's how I want to reason. They are individuals who have crossover, but not the coalition. There are individuals who have crossover to the
mhm,
other floor. So
mm,
the coalition has remained with some individuals. So these individuals have decided to put people like Karole Mondi who have
mhm,
left behind. So I think, though it's a bit complex, because
mhm,
this is, I think, is one of the first time it's happening. But to my
mhm.
understanding, I don't want to put it that because you find that members of ODM, some are still in the opposition. People like
I see.
Babu, Sifuna, even the Kisi members of parliament, all of them are
Mhm.
still in the, criticizing the government. But you find people like Junet, Mohammed,
Yeah.
people like Samuel Atandi, they have Atandi is even the, the chair budget. So
Yeah.
you find out these things. I can just it's about, let us put it like individuals.
Mm.
No, if you bring out the ODM or Azimio, I don't think we are going to get it right.
And that one sometimes reminds me or make me ask the question, especially when you look at the democracy and independency of parliament and how parliament should operate. When some of the laws are being violated, and we have very learned friends, including people like Otiende Amolo, senior counsel. We have Moses Masika Wetangula, who is a lawyer, even Millie Odhiambo Mbona, the bad girl. These are all people who are uh, brilliant, bright, and they are very, very, very learned, and they know what law says. But you find that they go against the spirit of constitution, especially when it comes to in parliament, whereby for a fact that there are some committees that should not be chaired, especially if you are promoting or advancing the ideology of the government that is in place. For instance, ODM now is supporting the policies and the vision of the administration that is the UDM, and you still find that they are holding these committees, and they know very well that they are holding them against the law.
Uh, A very good question, Bro Benson. But let me also try to be liberal. For instance, you have said that they are very bright, they have the legal background, and they understand that what is wrong, what is right is right. I'd also like to put this question to the public. If you are a lawyer and you have committed a crime, because not that lawyers can't commit crime.
Yeah, they can.
Lawyers are human beings.
Yes.
You can't commit crime. If you're a lawyer, you commit a crime, or you're a lawyer and you are going to bear the cost, like what is happening right now, or you're going to be liable. You understand very well that you have your rights and your freedom, right to be heard, right to fair trial, and so on and so forth. How do you expect them that because they are lawyers, now they will decline to their interest? That's where the point is. The fact that he's a lawyer, he will always defend his interest no matter what circumstances. For instance, does it mean that now Tindamolo, because he's a lawyer and Mino Diambo, and they have committed crimes, they just walk free to jail? They try to defend their ground that they'll try to defend their ground that they are innocent until contrary is proven. You understand? So even right now, what is happening between you can argue, you can say, okay, these are brilliant lawyers, they know very well, but not that they don't know. That one must also stick in your mind. They know, but in my view, this serves their interest. So when it serves their interest, they'll defend what serves their interest, irrespective of their stature as councils in this country. Because remember, in Radeda constituency, and Milo Diambo also represent the people of Suba North. In Radeda constituency, the constituents are not lawyers. We have farmers, we have engineers, we have teachers, we have many people. The constituency composed of many people. Maybe the interest of the people the interest of the people you are representing does not align with your interest as an individual. So sometimes in my view, I believe that when it's their interest, no matter how intellect they are, I don't see them bearing the cost. So they always want to not to be liable.
I think the cost they might be bearing is that they know very well what they are doing, but they decided for the maybe their interest to override that one of the laid down procedures that have been there or laws that has been there. Because for instance, just look at it. What kind of precedent are we setting? Especially remember when President William Ruto came into power, there are those parties or the members of parliament that he decided to work with him that put him into the majority, even to elect Wetangula to be the speaker. Remember, they're voting in the parliament. Yeah? Remember that. And now also we are seeing this is happening, against the traditions of the parliament since time immemorial. So what precedent are we setting?
Another good question. Good question. We are not setting like the issue of Wetangula speaker. In fact, the issue of him has been a subject discussion, even in the courts. The courts also pronounced themselves very clear that he is not impartial, he is not neutral, he is not non-partisan. The High Court has pronounced that the current speaker is partisan. The current speaker is not neutral, he is partial, he's not impartial. So to me, that's a very bad precedent we are setting as a country, because there will be another speaker after Wetangula. He will also use the same precedent that even Wetangula used to do this and this and be work free. But that's not how the August House should be managed. You understand? So I think that it's a very wrong precedent we are setting as a country. But there's what I usually say here. There's reality, and there's also the historical, the theory part of it, and whatever. But it's a very wrong precedent.
All right. Msimamo sasa, wewe unakuja kama sisi tunafunga hii maneno yetu. Tulikuwa tumeanza mapema sana. Habari gani?
Labda sasa nijue kwanza masaa, maana mimi nadhani labda ndo tumefungua, kumbe ndo tumechelewa. Otherwise mimi ni mzima.
Tulikuwa tumeanza mapema kwa sababu ya ile NADCO report. Tumeona labda tu tukianzia, we labda kama umeiona, we maoni yako gani?
Kwa kweli sijaizamia njuga.
Ya
Nitaivalia njuga baadaye vizuri. ya kiukweli. Lakini kwanza mimi namshukuru Mungu nimeshinda salama ndugu zangu, alafu ndugu yangu hapo mke zangu na wale pia wapenzi wanaotufuatilia upande ule mwingine wa pili na kote kule duniani. Kwa hiyo mimi siku ipelia njuga ndi kiduchu tu wakianzisha pale, basi nikaenda kwenye mihangaiko ya siku then ndo nikaa nitulie sasa hivi ni adadavue pole pole, lakini nimemsikia mkizungumzia masuala la minority leader hapa, swala la minority leader sasa likanikosha kidogo, lakini nilikuwa siwezi ingia, maana nilikuwa bado nimebana hapo mahali
Unajua tulikuwa tunazungumzia majority leader kusema kwamba kwanza tulikuwa tumezungumzia kuna viongozi wengi ambao wako na uzoefu sana sana ikikuja kwa mambo ya sheria, sana sana tukawataja wachache ambao wenyewe wanafanya vizuri katika hiyo nyanja ya mwanasheria na pia kutafsiria watu ama kufanya Wakenya waelewe zaidi sheria. Na unapata kwamba kuna baadhi ya vitu ambazo zinatokea ama vitu ambazo zimetokea katika pale bunge, unapata kwamba minority sasa wanaungana na serikali, na katika sheria na kanuni za bunge inamaanisha kwamba kuna zile nyadhifa ambazo kama sasa unaungana na serikali, hizo nyadhifa unafaa uachie wale ambao ni wachache bungeni. Lakini unaona kama haya ipo sasa, ndio tulikuwa tunasema kwamba wanatengenezea historia gani kwa bunge ambayo inakuja.
Asante sana kaka kwa swali hilo, lakini mara nyingi mimi huanzia mbali alafu nikaja hapa kwenye hili
Umepotea tena kaka. Okay, tutamsubiri kidogo kwa sababu tuko karibu kufunga, ndio tuende zetu. Tutamsubiri aseme yake kidogo. Alafu Miguda bado upo? Kakangu
bado niko kidogo, nilikuwa nadhani tunaenda, lakini kakangu amekuja, simpatie muda kidogo.
Wacha tumpatie dakika kama 2-3 hivi pia atoe maoni yake. Kesho tutaingia hapa tukichelewa kidogo kwa sababu leo tumekuja mapema zaidi. Okay. Asante sana Mr. Miguda kwa kuchukua nafasi yako. Sijui tutamsubiri tumpatie dakika 5 hivi aingie, tuone venye mambo ipo. Miguda, unajua jana Esther Passaris alipigiwa kelele kule Kamkunji lakini unapata saa zingine ama viongozi pia saa zingine wanatushangaza. How can you call a moment of silence immediately after making your speech if you see that now people are not agreeing with you? Which one should start first surely? Viongozi bana. Miguda.
Viongozi wanajiona malaika.
We jana Esther Passaris jana alikuwa kule Kamkunji, nadhani alikuwa ameenda kuongea na wanawake pale, akaongea akasema mambo ya 2 term ni kama haikukuwa ilikuwa moto kule. Naona mpaka mtu akachukua mic kwa mkono yake akaenda nayo, lakini kilinishangaza kishaona kwamba kuna ground si mzuri sana, akaanza kusema inafaa tusimame tupatiane heshima kwa wale ambao wamepoteza maisha yao. Baada kufanya ushaongea mpaka karibu namaliza, surely si wewe unaanza na hiyo ndio unaenda kuongea?
Hiyo inafaa kuwa ratiba, lakini sio unapata kuna saa zingine sijui wamechanganyikiwa juu wanachapa mikutano mingi.
Mimi ndafurahia, ndabaki kuona. Unajua uzuri wa siasa ni kwamba kama sasa hapa Miguda, mimi nataka kuona sana sana UDA na, for instance, I want to see how UDA is going to navigate or is going to accommodate, because Mudavadi is a UDA, he doesn't have anything to sign with president. Moses Wetangula still have the Ford Kenya, Amazon King still have the PA, Alfred Mutua, or that I don't know how they are going to be accommodated in this talks that is happening between UDA and ODM. And I'm also going to see how the Orengo faction and Sifuna are going to navigate the war in the ODM and who is going to merge the victors.
Those are very interesting times ahead. We are also waiting to see how they are going to be unfold.
Yes, okay.
More so, whereby the negotiation between UD and ODM, in exclusion of Mudavadi, Wetangula, and Kingi.
Yes. And maybe Miguda, if because Wanga, governor for Homa Bay, has said that okay, they are going to negotiation and UDA is going to have 50, ODM is going to have 50. Then out of this 50, that is now they are going to share. And you know, that is the same language that Rigathi Gachagua was using. We've talked about this before. At what point do we measure that if Rigathi Gachagua was sending the same message or they're having that with President William Ruto, Gachagua now is a shareholder person, and what Wanga is saying about 50-50 is okay.
You know how these people respond to you, how they name you, is their own pressure. Rigathi Gachagua is shareholder depending on how you are being. Depending on William Ruto, is a shareholder. Depending on William Ruto, is a tribal. And also, it depends on who calls you or who views you. That's how these namings do come. Because even Oburu said that they want their own shares as people of ODM and people of Nyanza. They don't want Mount Kenya shares. So I think it depends on how it always depends on. You can call me a tribalist. So in your mind and thinking, I'm a tribalist because of politics. But maybe I'm not a tribalist.
Okay, Miguda, thank you so much. And I believe if Makubura will find time, he will come and have another show at around 10 or 11, hopefully. And may also take the people that has been in the comment section and those who are watching us. May God bless you all. Let's meet here tomorrow for the same discussion.